Hello, everyone. This is Grace from Chapter 8 Podcast, and it's wonderful to be with you here today. Today, we are going to be talking about the reflection of a soul. Before we get started, I want to let you know if you have not subscribed to my channel, please click the button and do so. I would definitely appreciate it. So, I have some good content and revelation for you today, talking about the reflection of a soul. This is really important. I felt as though that it was very important. I'm going to share this with you today. And so, what we're going to be talking about is the way people treat you is a reflection of how they see you. The way you let people treat you is a direct reflection of how you see yourself. The resolution is you must teach people how to treat you, no matter what the cost. And there will be a cost to pay. You may lose some people along the way, but remember, boundaries are not walls, they're bridges that allows us to connect in harmony with one another. Amos 3:3, can two walk together except they be agreed? Your soul is a component of the mind, will, and emotions. When people push up on your boundaries, which people definitely will, whether it's a lover, a friend, or a family member, it's disrespectful. Straight up, don't overlook it, call it what it is. The reason I say this because silently it vexes your spirit. It gnaws away at your mind, your will, and emotions little by little because you didn't have the will to stand up for yourself. You dummy yourself down to keep the peace. In return, you lose a piece of yourself. When someone vexes you, you feel annoyed, frustrated, worried, and distressed. You go over and over in your head with memories of the conversation or situation that you didn't take control of. You didn't stand up for the boundary that you set for yourself. Someone does something that goes against the grain. Example, you tell someone, I don't like when you're doing that. I'm not comfortable with you saying that. Or perhaps they treated you a certain way and completely dismissed your feelings as if your feelings were not valid. You may have had more than one conversation about it, and they keep on doing the same thing. And on top of that, they want the relationship to remain in full gear. What is that? That is disrespect. Call it what it is. It is disrespectful. If you don't respect yourself first and learn to love you and know that you were created in the image of God, not man, God, you may have to lose and release some people and relationships along the way. It may not be forever. If so, I say, so be it. Luke 6:31. And as you wish that others would do to you, do so to them. Romans 12:10. Love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Outdo one another with showing honor, respecting someone else's feelings, respecting someone taking a pause. If someone doesn't particularly, if someone does something that you didn't like or what have you, and they go home and they pause and they think about it. You spoke about it and and then they come back and say, you know what, I apologize. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have did that. I won't do that again. That's respect. That's respecting you. And that's me having respect for myself to say, you know what, I was wrong. I shouldn't have did that, or I shouldn't have said that. I apologize. Can we move on? You can work with someone like that, whether it's a friend or a family member or, your spouse or your lover, whoever it is. We have to have respect for one another. Self respect is everything. And if you're surrounded by an environment of people that think otherwise, let me tell you right now, you are out of your element. Run. The scripture says, do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good character. So what I did was I put together um so acronyms of self-respect. It was in my spirit so hard. And I was like, you know what? Let me put something together here with self-respect. And the Lord gave me this. So respect yourself. Okay. So, and what it means, what I did was I had actually had some t-shirts made up with this on it. And when I was having it done, the guy was like, you know what, I need to get one of these made up for myself. But it's really, really good. And I want you to just listen to this for a moment. So S is for satisfied. Satisfied, you have to be complete and satisfied with you first. E is for evolve. We should always be growing in life, expanding our capacity, enlarging our territory, seeking to produce more fruit. L, leaders are a result of self training and discipline. Leaders have power to influence. You can't influence nobody else if you can't influence yourself. Faithful. F is for faithful. Be faithful to yourself. Then we can be faithful to others. Now, here's a big one right here. Aura, okay, which is radical. Okay, I use that because personally, I have been called radical in very condescending ways several times. But yes, radical. Jesus was radical. Okay, and the Webster Bible says radicals very different from the usual of how people do things or how people think. Very different from the usual. How about that? If you are radical and you don't know who you are, people will put witchcraft on you and make you think you are insignificant. You don't matter and you don't fit in. When you're not supposed to fit in, you were designed to stand up and stand out. Recognize. E is for effective. You are a problem solver. You get results. You're constructive. You get the job done. S, safe. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. It won't work because there's a shield of protection all around you. It's called the armor of God. P is for positive, consistent in character. Integrity is what we do. E is for elevate, raise the bar, upgrade, promote yourself, not in pride, but in love and in peace. C, this is another big one, confident, having a strong belief in the capabilities that God has given you, knowing you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. If God be for you, who can be against you? Last but not least, trust. To be someone that can be relied on. Trust in oneself. Trust in your own choices and decisions. Then ask for the gift of discernment to be able to trust others. Guys, I want to say this. I came to this self-respect because I go on the internet and I see these people, all these women, they're all disrespectful, half naked, shaking their behinds, people making the mockery with the church. They on there shouting and doing all this kind of dumb stuff and just making a fool of themselves. And we have to have respect for ourselves first. We have women that are seasoned women of God in unhealthy relationships. And, you know, um, I can share part of my story for myself. I was married for 34 years. Me and my husband was separated for 13 years in that 34-year process. And over the years, when we got back together, I just didn't believe that. I always had this notion in my heart that he just didn't love me because his actions, the word of God says, love is an action word. And he did not show me through his actions that he loved me. And I'm looking at myself, I'm getting older, and I'm saying to myself, can I live like this for the rest of my life? I don't recommend anybody get a divorce. That's not what I'm saying. But I know for me, when I looked in the mirror, I didn't like what I saw. I was settling for so much less. Um, he was a man without a vision, and I was the one that actually was leading. And when you flip the roles in a relationship like that, when you're doing the leading and the man is doing the following, 90% of the time you never get that back. And most of the time, silently, a man has resentment because you have taken the lead and he's following. But he doesn't have the want to get up and take the lead. And then after a certain point in time, what happens is you wind up losing respect for a man that can't lead you, that doesn't have a vision for you, you know and I used to say all the time, what we're going to do, we're just going to work every day and pay bills, and that's the way we're going to live the rest of our life. We're not going to go nowhere. We're not going to do anything. We're not going to build anything together. We're just going to stay here, and we're just going to work, and we're just going to work and pay bills, and that's it. That was basically my life. That's all that we did you know and I had just got to the point that I said, this is just not, God has so much more for me, and I loved my husband. Do not get me wrong, I loved him, and it just it just didn't. I said I can't do this another day. And I love that movie Girl Trip. Even though it was raunchy, but it had such good significance to that movie because, what was her name? I think her name was Robin. But anyway, her husband was cheating on her. He wound up having a baby, and things like that. And then she said at the end of the movie there, I cry every time I see it. I cry at the end of that movie where she says that at some point she lost a piece of herself. She was so looking to having it all that she had to realize you don't have it all. And she was okay with that and come to the point that before she was his wife, she was who God had created her to be. And she was losing that piece of herself. And every time they get to that point with her and Queen Latifah and Jada and everything, and I just get to crying because I'm like, oh my God, I know how that feels to stay in a relationship so long that piece by piece, minute by minute, day by day, month by month, year by year, you begin to lose a piece of yourself to the point where you don't even really know who you are. And I'm here to tell you that if you are in a relationship where that man is not respecting you, he is not honoring you the way you're supposed to be honored as a woman, take a deeper look at yourself. Talk to God. You are a woman of God, a woman of integrity. God has so much that he wants to do in you and through you. And you leave this earth with all your gifts and your dreams inside of you, dead, buried 6 feet under. Never got a chance to evolve and be the person that God has originally created you to be. With that being said, I want you to know that Sister Grace loves you. I will be back with some more, but I'm going to be honest with you, ladies. I'm sharing my experience with you. God has set me free, and it's just been a wonderful journey with me and God. Do I miss being a wife? Yes, I do. Do I miss my husband? Yes, I do. But you know what? I love what God I have found, who God has created me to be, and I love the woman that I am today. When I look in the mirror and I see myself, I am so thankful for the freedom that God has allowed me to have. So, with that being said, until we meet again, I want you to know that I love you and I will be with you in a week or so. We'll get together and we will connect. If you haven't done so by now, please do me a favor and click on that button and subscribe to my channel. I love you. Bye-bye.